What's up, guys? It's Crohmbs here, and I hope everyone's doing fantastic. First things first, I want to say I apologize for my absence. I know I made a community post talking about this, but I've just been going through some personal shit, and I also got my wisdom teeth removed, which honestly kicked my ass for about 2 weeks. I don't know. It was not a good recovery, but I'm back, and I really appreciate the support even while I was gone. For today's video, I actually wanted to talk about an idea that I see passed around a lot, but I've never really seen the devs give too much thought to, and that's the killer repeat prevention idea. Essentially, the basis of this idea is that when a survivor faces a killer in-game, maybe once or twice, the game will then force any other killer to queue into that survivor. Pretty self-explanatory. You don't really have to go into too much detail. And I pretty much just see a ton of people, siding with this, saying that there are no cons, there's only pros. And I wanted to take a quick dive into this and see, is this really a good idea or is it a bad one? Now, first things first, I think it's pretty obvious that at prime time, prime hours in your region, this would probably be a good thing. I don't think there'd be many cons because there are so many players playing, so many different killers. The worst thing that could happen from this is a slight queue time increase, and that is not too bad at prime time. Now, however, as someone who even lives in NA East, which is a pretty populated region, playing in the morning and nights, queue times are pretty skyrocketed. Sometimes you can even get queue times that last about 5 minutes. And then you get that queue and it's an EU lobby. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, DBD's queue system is not that great, despite, everyone knows DBD is a very populated game, with most likely well over 100,000 players on all platforms combined playing at all times, which is insane. But that's probably the first problem I'd like to address. When it comes to playing a popular killer, whether you're playing, I don't know, Chucky's pretty popular, Huntress pretty popular, a new killer is pretty popular, Dracula right now, like, any of those people would just be completely obliterated at like nighttime, and their queue times would probably be doubled realistically. And in my opinion, I just feel like that is 100% a con that needs to be looked out for, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad idea just yet. Another thing I'd like to talk on is not just daytimes, but also people who live in other countries in the world. There are many countries, in terms of what my viewers have told me, that queues take forever. And even for those queues, they don't even have proper server regions. So they're playing already on 100 ping. And this is just going to be awful for them if they, again, play any killer that's... Now, I think there are a extreme amount of pros to this. Obviously, the replayability on Survivor would just be skyrocketed. And this is coming from someone who pretty much off-stream only plays Survivor. I don't really play killer off-stream. And, getting two trappers back-to-back is just mind-bogglingly boring, honestly. And, we all have our killers that we don't like to face, right? And even if you are a killer main, or if you're a survivor main, you have someone on the other side that you don't like to face. And I think any killer main could reason with a survivor who has said, oh, this is my third Wesker in a row. It's like, you're not going to sit there and be like, cry more unless you're a loser. Like, no one wants to face the same killer that many times in a row. I do agree that I like getting a certain amount of killers a lot in a day, but not in a row. And that's where repeat prevention comes into play so hard. Now, another con to this would also be when a new killer is released. I'm sure they would have to honestly disable this when a new killer is released because, you're talking the queues are already spiked when a new killer release, and this would make those awful. Like, honestly, with this in the game, I assume the people playing the new killer would experience 10 to 20 minute queues, which in a game that's this populated is just ridiculous. Like, all that just to have someone DC first hook is insane. Like, it would be unplayable, as pretty much PTBs always are, and we've already seen that. And that's another little thing. You could not have this in a PTB, which is like, obviously, that's pretty self-explanatory. But I think the biggest problem when it comes to repeat prevention is the entire idea of it kind of, and I say kind of because even I understand that, like I said, facing the same killer in a row is not really fun at all. However, it does kind of drive and add on to the idea of this just catering to people who don't want to play the game. A lot of the people who are DCing when they're getting 2 killers in a row are doing it for a lot of killers. And that is where repeat prevention is going to be so problematic. Honestly, I could see this getting to a point where everyone's queues are so bad because people are just giving up. They're leaving just so they don't have to face that killer again. They're taking that 50 seconds, that 5 minutes, and and they're going next because they know they're not going to have to play that killer again. And it's just going to be an endless snowball that leads to overall larger queue times, and that simply just cannot happen. But obviously that's a bit of a speculation, and the pros, in my opinion, do still outweigh the cons as long as it's added properly. Another problem with this could also be the MMR system in the game. When I'm playing killers I don't play a lot, my queue times are significantly faster than when I'm playing someone like Wesker, Oni, or Pinhead, killers that I have played a good amount. And this is most likely due to MMR, even though I don't think it ever really works necessarily, but it definitely does something. But who's to say that my Wesker queues at nighttime wouldn't be 20 minutes? And that in an NA East region is just baffling. That doesn't happen in any game, even games that are way, way less popular than Dead by Daylight. There would have to be a lot of thought into this, and well, I mean, let's be honest, Behavior is pretty known for not thinking things out completely. They have done a lot of great, but they have also implemented things well before they should have been implemented, and that has led to a lot of problems. Take the last couple updates before Dracula as an example. But overall, I think it's a really interesting idea, and any idea like this for the quality of life of players is great to give mind to, and I'm sure that Behavior has at some point. I just don't, at least to the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've ever talked about implementing this, or maybe not. But what do you guys think? Let me know if I missed anything. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about it. And I mean, let me know if you completely agree with me like a hive mind. I also want to say, make sure you guys catch the live streams at twitch.tv/crohmbs. Link to that will always be in the description. Make sure you go drop a follow over there. And make sure you guys are in my Discord as well, so you know when I'm live. Smack that freaking like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And please enjoy the last 2 minutes or so of this gameplay. I will see you guys in the next one, and thank you for watching. I should have cut that chain.